Hello, welcome in. This is Dr. Darnise, and I'm on with a video about hoodoo and spiritual cleansing. I'm motivated to do this video because, as y'all know, I've moved, or maybe you know, but I moved across the country from Los Angeles to Savannah, Georgia. And in doing so, I am now in a new space. And of course, my new space needs to be cleansed, spiritually cleansed. And as I was doing all that and continue to do it, really, as I continue to unpack and put things where they need to go, I am continually cleansing. And I said, let me make a video about this because I think it'll be helpful for our community. And also, I don't think I've done a video on cleansing in a while, and it could be a good reminder for some folks. So let me take you through some of the things that I'm doing. But first, let me just recap to say that hoodoo is our African American folk spiritual magical practice. And it is root work based. And so we tend to use a lot of plants and herbs and things from nature to help us with healing, to help us with protection. Recall that African American people originally created these strategies, really what they are, from an African context, right? Coming with an African worldview about spirituality and nature, and using it initially for resistance against slavery and the horrors of slavery, lest these people try to tell you it wasn't that bad. And basically Jim Crow from then until the present time. And so our good ancestors used what they knew as African people in these Americas to create talismans, mojo bags, all kind of things for their protection, right? And healing. And yes, you could do things like create love spells, prosperity spells. There's a lot you can do, right, with hoodoo practices. But I'm on here today to talk about cleansing rituals. And so, one of the main things that you do, of course, you start with some good old soap and water and add this to the soap and water ritual. This is some Florida water, which anybody who practices any of these traditions, ATRs, African traditional religions, will tell you you must have some Florida water. So this is the classic, I guess, or maybe most use Murray and Landman variety Florida water. And so you can find this at the botanicas. Maybe there's botanica where you live in your city, or what I'm finding in my new digs in Savannah is not so much a botanica per se, unless I haven't found it yet, but the metaphysical stores. So the places where they sell the crystals and sage, where maybe there's yoga classes being held, those kind of places. Also, um, in many places, you can find this in a drugstore, in CVS. Now, I have not yet found it in CVS here in Savannah, but definitely when you're in major cities, you can. Now, because I didn't know where I was going to find it, I have a few bottles that I brought with me, but I was out at a metaphysical store here in Savannah and I bought, what they had on the shelves. And it wasn't bad. This is $8, which is not a terrible price. Like, we find in the drugstore at CVS, it's like $3.50. This being $8, I was okay with because some of these places you go and it's like $15. If you're seeing Florida water for $15, they really are getting you. And if you don't have any place else to get it, I guess you're just gonna do it. But keep in mind, it don't really cost that. So, but I got this because it has a similar scent. But what I noticed later, I didn't pay attention. This says it is alcohol free. And that means it's much better for, like, some people like to put it in their bed as part of their spiritual bath, and they literally take a spiritual bath. And so it's better for that than this because this has alcohol in it. But when you're cleansing your house, like if you want to add it to the water when you're, mopping or wiping things down, you want alcohol in it, right? You want to kill some germs. So the alcohol is what you want. But of course, if you put it on your hands or your skin in general, it's going to dry it out, which, dries my hands out. So I use gloves. But this kind is alcohol free. So it's much better for, using it for a spiritual bath. And just keeping in mind, okay, you're not the one I'm going to use when I really want to cleanse a surface. Just not that I'm going to need with the alcohol in it. So I'm just letting you know also to make sure you get some that has alcohol. And if you use it that has alcohol, keep in mind it is drying on your skin just like alcohol would be. So, I'm wiping everything down. It's a new space, it needs to be wiped down. But also as I unpack things and wiping off surfaces continually, as you see, I'm pretty much out of it. But I do have probably 2 other bottles that I brought with me from LA, and I'm gonna be looking for where I can get it. But anyway, Florida water, you need that. And then there's a little story. I think I made a video years ago, 2, 3 years ago, maybe, about Solange. Solange knows Beyonce's sister. Because there was a picture of her when she went to the Met, the Met ball, that gala, and she had this with her in her little bag. And you could see it because her bag was like a crochet or macrame kind of a bag. So it was all knit. And she was carrying this with her to the Met Gala. Now, I don't know if she was just trying to make a statement to let everybody know what she's into, or she was like, I got to cleanse my surfaces when I get amongst all these people. I don't know, but there's plenty of pictures out there. You could Google Solange for Florida water and you would come up with it. The other thing that's essential in this cleansing is sage, of course. Now, there's a caution about sage, and this isn't even that strong because there's got some, what else is blended in here? Some lavender. I forgot what all is in here. Some kind of grass is in here. So the caution with sage is it's so strong, it's kind of known as like the Clorox of spiritual cleansing work. So you don't want to use sage all the time. You just want to use sage when like you've moved and you want to clear out a new space or something. I don't know. Let's just say you had a whole house full of people and they've gone and you want to cleanse the space. You want to do a major cleansing. Then you want to use sage because it clears everything out, meaning also the positive energies that you cultivate. Of course, you cultivate with the spirits, the energy of your ancestors, whatever other energies you might work with personally, the Orisha, the Loa, whatever you might be working with that you cultivate to make your space a home, and safe, they will go too because this is harsh. This is like throwing Clorox over everything or ammonia. Now, some people playing with ammonia. Y'all know you can't mix ammonia and bleach. That's just a side note. I know some people, the fumes. Okay, so this is like that. So since this is a new space for me coming in, it was good for me to use sage to cleanse everything other than me and my ancestors out of here. But then I follow that up with some Palo Santo, which is a sweet wood. And Palo Santo is good. It puts itself out all the time, right? Self-extinguishing. So you light it. It's kind of hard to even keep a flame going, but really what you want is the smoke anyway. And then just go through every room with your Palo Santo. This is more inviting, right? It smells nice. Some people really like it. I mean, to me, smoky, it gets to be too smoky. I don't necessarily like that, but I do it as a ritual. And, I do it to invite my ancestors into this new space. I set up my altar and, ritually cleansed that space, inviting them back in, lit some candles, poured out some water and some food, the whole ritual to have them join me in this new space. Because, in moving, I had to put them in a box and all that. So I really wanted to do a thing like, we're back, we're home. Find me over here now, right? And also part of the cleansing process is black candles. Black candles for and a black crystal. I think this is tourmaline. No, this is probably just, I think this is just some onyx. But black stone is good for grounding and it's good for protection. And so black candles as well. Because again, new space, new energies, things have got to go. Things have got to go. So I've got a couple black candles, and as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to burn some more of that. I don't think I've sufficiently burned my black candles. Um, and what else? And then, once I'm cleansing things and inviting, as I said back, now I'm laying out crystals. I have little pockets of crystals everywhere in my living space. And so this is a rose quartz. This is just a regular clear um, quartz. Uh, Clear quartz amplifies everything else. So it's so powerful in and of itself that whatever you put it with is going to amplify the energy of that. So, this is some citrine, which is always good for prosperity. And this is a little tiny blue piece of blue. What is that? Some agate, I guess that is some blue agate, so tiny. I do have some other larger pieces of blue agate around. But blue stones bring in soothing, calm, like the color blue typically is associated with energies. So, again, what's inviting? Once you scare everything away, what do you want to invite back? Right? So, you want to invite back in that which is helpful and calming and healing to you. And always put your clear crystal quartz with it because it amplifies everything else, as does selenite. Here's a wand. I always keep this here. Y'all might notice. I always keep, as I said, little bunches of crystals everywhere. And I select the crystals intentionally in terms of where in my space it is. So in this space, which is my office space, I have a lot of blue because the blue sodalite is also good for speaking. So for people who talk for a living, teachers, lawyers, writers, even so people who use language a lot, sodalite is very good for that. So I make sure I have that up here, which is this one. Can't see it that clearly. Rose quartz everywhere, citrine everywhere. Is this green? Yeah, I was going to say I better have a green one somewhere. So I've got some aventurine here, which is, of course, for prosperity and money. And of course, you have to have your amethyst. But selenite is good for opening up your higher chakras and doing the spiritual download, being open to higher consciousness. So selenite is always good. I tend to use these when I am doing a tarot reading because they are helping me download, right? Get my spiritual download and use my own intuition um, to an even greater degree. And this one here is crystal quartz with embedded within it some additional stones, some amethyst, some, this is a green stone. So I'm going to say that that's also aventurine and another blue stone there. So bound up all together, I like to have that with me. It's point of power. Of course, I have candles everywhere. So this is just a regular, white candle. Always good to have. And yeah, so anyway, I just want to come on and share with you how I am doing a spiritual cleansing using our good hoodoo um, principles and tools. So what else do I want to say? Oh, Patreon. I did a live. If you didn't catch the live, you haven't watched it, go back and watch that replay that I did as a live. I talked about reopening my Patreon. So I'm going to have a study group and I'm going to open that up and invite people to come and study with me. So it'll be most likely a once a month time when we get together on Patreon, basically via Zoom or via I don't know, YouTube Live is what I'm trying to say, y'all. YouTube Live. And then those sessions will be posted on Patreon, but only for Patreon people. So do go and get yourself signed up on Patreon. You'll see there's two levels. One is just a general subscriber supporter level, which I think is $3. And then the other one is for our group study, which is not much more. I don't know if it's even $10, somewhere between $3 and $10. So if you like what I'm teaching, if you like what I'm doing, and you think you want to study with me more, we're going to go through different books together. I had the, Reclaiming Black Studies list, right? So we're gonna dive in and do some things together on a monthly basis. And so I look forward to having y'all join me. Yeah, and so I'll wrap it up. Bye for now.